Hello, rebellious visionaries, and welcome to the Root Work Podcast, where we're digging deeper to get to the root of financial success and failure. You're about to listen to conversations between two real sisters who are still growing and sharing their journey with you. Join us as we normalize difficult conversations around money and discover how we can use the power of talking about it to grow from and support each other so we can have the confidence to choose the life we envision.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're listening to this podcast episode. This is a very special episode. This week is our Mother's Day special. And for this episode, Kim and I have done the impossible. You guys, it is hard for me and Kim to find a minute to sit still and record because both of us are so busy. It is even harder to wrangle all, what is it? Is it five of us? Five.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah, five of us, and sit down because we are all busybodies. We are all super productive. We all like to keep moving, and to get us all sitting down at the same place had to be God ordained. So today on this episode, we have five. I'm going to say it's really like three generations technically, right? But I think our age gaps are so big, even between me and you, Kim, that I'm going to say we have like five generations of women here. And we wanted to have conversations about what we wish we knew and being able to share that, share what we know now about the generation we're in with the generation behind us. Um, Kim and I talked about this, and so did Amira, our podcast engineer. We talked about this in advance, and we were thinking about not only how fortunate we are to still have our mother, to have such loving sisterhood, to have such amazing aunties, to be an amazing auntie, and to do our best to be amazing children to our mothers. We're lucky to have such a strong family dynamic, and even inside of such a strong family, there are still so many things that I felt like I didn't know when I got to each age of my life, and I wish I'd known sooner. And some of that not knowing is simply because I was being hard-headed and not listening, right? I wasn't listening to my mama. And some of the not knowing is because I think at times our parents they feel like we're too young to receive a message yet, that or maybe they haven't done with they're not done dealing with it themselves, so it's too hard and it's emotional to kind of have those conversations, but they are conversations that we would have benefited from, and so we wanted to be intentional about giving the next generation an opportunity to have a lens, like almost like a lens into the future about what this stage of life feels like emotionally, what's happening in our life as far as like practical stuff, like really what's going on in your 20s is completely different than what's going on in your 40s, and then what's happening for you financially. The emotional thing from generation to generation might not be different, but the expenses, the type of things you're thinking about paying for, or the worries you have in your 20s financially are not the same worries that you have when you're 60. So we're going to go from oldest to youngest and pass wisdom down. Um, I think I had a topic, like an actual title for the show, and I can't think of the fire topic I had to begin with, but I'll formally give the question. And what the way this will work, ladies, is I'm going to try to ask a question to mommy, and then mommy will share her words of wisdom, passing that to Kim, who is the oldest sister, and pass that wisdom to me. I'm going to pass that wisdom to my niece, Amira, who is also Kim's daughter. And then she is going to pass some words of wisdom to my daughter, Jordan. And she is going to share her wisdom for the kids coming below her. So that's how it'll go. Before we get started, I would like to share our ages so people can understand our age gaps. So, mommy.
Excuse me.
Yes.
We didn't agree upon that part.
We got to give it to them. They got to know what level where we are in our life to understand what's going on in it. So mommy, let me tell you something. Mommy looks good for her age. Y'all all know this. And I was definitely calling mommy 60 like over and over again yesterday. And mommy let me for a little while until she finally corrected me. Mom, how old are you?
I am 52.
Mom,
I mean, take that out.
Mom, people can hear you. Don't lie.
No, I'm sorry. I'm born in 51. I am 72.
She's
I
72.
You could pass with 52, Grandma.
You could pass the 52. Kim, how old are you?
I am 47
Woo!
and looking like heaven.
That's a mommy thing. She's gonna rhyme with her age no matter what. I am 40 years old. I just turned 40 in February, y'all. I just slid in here.
I can't believe you're 40.
I know, that's crazy. I feel like I'm still in my 30s, I think.
Yeah.
Amira, how old are you?
I am 23.
That's crazy.
wow.
That's crazy.
I know.
Jordan, how old are you?
I'm 15. I'm about to be 16 in
16.
16. Our baby. Okay. So we got a lot of decades. We're covering everything from the teens to the 70s. So
we got to add our other sister age.
Yes. Our baby sister's our baby sister's missing. Rachel is she's representing the 30s.
Yeah, she rep the 30s and she's doing it fabulously.
Yes.
That don't rhyme.
So 34. So all of the girls, for those of you guys who've heard our podcast in a while, you probably have heard this age gap before. And if you know our family, you know it. But all the girls in our family are 8 years apart. If you do the math, Kim, me, from Kim to me to Rachel to Amira to Jordan are all 8 years gaps. And so it feels like we're several generations in one generation long.
We know if Alicia fits in that.
She doesn't. Alicia, I think, is
Alicia's my bad.
I feel like I was 11 when Lily was born.
Okay.
So yeah, we try. The way we say it is, if it's an 8 year, then a girl will be born. You might get more, but we're gonna have one on the 8th year. Okay, so let's get into these questions. Mom, what unique emotional life challenges have you discovered at this stage of life that you're in right now? So you're in your 70s and you're new to them. Is there anything in particular about 70 that is coming up for you that you didn't really know you'd feel at this age?
So maybe overwhelmed with choices to do. So much on my agenda, but I'm learning how to put them in proper order.
That's good.
And with the grace of God, the wisdom that God gives me.
I'm wondering, does it feel like you have a lot, because you're not like your kids grow up and they grow out of the house, but then we never stop being your kids, right? And so now we have kids, and so now it's not like you have less kids, it's like you have way more kids because you got grandkids and great grandkids. Does it feel like more because your family has grown bigger, or just what about being 70 feels like a lot?
It's just that the speed of my my ability to do. I have such a zeal and compassion and love for people, and for especially older people. And I just I'm just born with that.
She don't know how to slow herself down.
You want more time to be able to do more.
I still love what I'm doing. It's not like borsing or Tyson and the things that I do have to do. And I try to install that into my kids too. They wonder why I'm doing this for that, but we never know when we have to be the one that somebody has to take care of us.
Right.
So why I'm graceful to be able to do that, I'm just go until I'm not going to fall on the floor, but I'm going to go until the Lord let me know that, okay, and if I be putting him first in my life in the morning, that helps order my steps. Definitely it does. Because help me get my priorities in order. Because sometimes I have make plans, but see God order my steps. I feel that.
I love
Uh,
that. So,
yes.
mommy, I'm curious because you're the only one on this call who does not still have her mother living. I think all the time how grateful, how fortunate we are because when I was younger, I didn't realize how young you were when grandma died, but you were only 35 years old. You were Rachel's age, essentially. And I cannot imagine at that stage of your life when you have these children and this is the time where you probably most need your mom of how did you even like grandma, there's a lot of kids in your family, you got a lot of siblings, mommy. I would imagine like you would have loved to have been able to ask grandma like how did you manage all of these kids, like how did you do it? So but you didn't have that opportunity because grandma had already passed, and I watched you attach yourself to so many older women, as you say, like you always were taking care of, like you're 70 talking about loving taking care of older women. Like you'll always find somebody to take care of, and I wondered now, was your attachment to these older women in the community of service but also to have access to somebody that felt like a motherly figure. So I'm wondering, mommy, if grandma was still living, what questions would you have for her? Like what would you want to ask grandma if you could have even during your life?
I don't know. I have asked her a question. How does she deal with life? How does she deal with the pressures of life that I see her go through? And she just said, I deal with it. Just like that. And I feel the same way. I just deal with it with the help of the Lord. And, hmm, that's just where it is. And in talking about mothers, God put these mothers in my life. I always remember a scripture saying something that he will give you more mothers, brothers, and sisters, and all of that when you put him first, some kind of way like that.
Right.
So every mother that come, every mother that passed, that come into my life, some of them 90, 92, and when they pass on, it seemed like he placed another one there.
Mm.
And it's gracefully just knowing that he surround me with elders. Words I used to tell Mother Brown all the time, she always give me a word of wisdom and things that she say, the jokes. And I'm like, where you get all those things from? She said, they just come. So it's just a blessing. I have moved down here now. Mother Brown has passed on, and Miss Franklin, Mother Franklin, I talks to her, and she's up in age and wishing to be there with her, but we are distant apart. But we still have that distance doesn't change by love and our love for each other. So I'm still connected with my mothers. I have a mother in there in the church that I call Mother Fields, and she has come into my life at this time. Not so much that I choose them, but he just put them there for me, and I just attached to them just like their mother. They're just like a mother.
And I think that's good that mommy understands the importance of connecting, as a younger woman to seek the wisdom of an elderly person, an elder of yours, So she always been wise to want to sit at the feet of those older than her. And she was able to serve them, but also gain strength from them.
That's a very good point, because the elder doesn't necessarily have to mean old age, right?
Right.
That the next generation right above us might be elder enough, and just having the humility to absorb wisdom, to want to sit under the tutelage of somebody who's done this stage of your life before.
Right. That's what I love about Amira so much, how she sits with her aunties and she doesn't mind being around older people. I love that about her because I know that she's going to always get, good influence. Which I think that's whack, but she actually enjoys the elders of her family.
I love that. Kim, you jumping ahead because I wanted to share some love about what we love about our children soon.
Well, I'm just flowing. I'm just flowing.
I love that. I love that. So, Kim, at this stage of your life, what are some of the unique emotional challenges that you've discovered at this age that you wish that you were more prepared for, that you would like to share with the generation, the me, like that, even though we're right here at the same, we're close in age, but there's still a difference. I could see even now, like the stage I'm in. Oh, I now remember when you were there. I had no idea that's what you were going through. But now that I'm here, I could see it very clearly. So it's not lost on me that you might be experiencing something very different that I'm experiencing right now that I need to be prepared for. So what would you tell me and anybody my age about what this stage of life looks like, what it feels like, what type of unique things are going on in your life that that I could be more prepared for?
Okay. Sure. I only think I could really probably reference that would be different for you now is having adult children and being in a place where you want the best for them, but you have to really, really let go. I'm learning that um, I'm actually just told mommy this last week. I'm learning that God's promises is that if you raise them up right, they won't return void, right? They'll come back to God and they'll, is it won't return void? What is it?
His word will not return
Yeah, his
void.
word won't return void. And I'm like, wow, mom, I'm looking at the life of my siblings and me. And I know that your prayers are the reason why we're still here. I think about my brothers and things they've been into. All of us have been returned or restored back to our place in God. Like we will never leave our foundation in God. Even my brothers, they know Jesus. They have accepted, faith and understand who they are in God. And just realizing now at this age that where I thought I can make my children do certain things and have them become this vision I had for them. That was a promise that God gave me concerning them, but it wasn't up to me to make it happen. And so just learning to rest in the fact that now is my time to become who I'm supposed to be in this age, at this stage. Like I've done my due diligence and sowing those seeds into my children, and now they will grow when I continue to grow. And so I think that's one of my that has been my biggest stressors the last couple of years, and understanding, the mistakes I've made that may have hindered their growth, and feeling, getting over that part of, okay, I wasn't perfect. I had the vision of being a perfect mom, but I really messed up really bad for a couple of years. And just understanding that God's promise concerning my children is still, in a full effect. And I'm seeing it when I let go and trust him. And that's probably something I would tell women as they're raising their children, getting older, that you have to parent through trusting God, not through what you say and all of the things you want them to do. You got to let go and let really God have them the way you dedicated them to him when they were babies. So.
Wow, I didn't even know how much I needed to hear it until I was sitting there hearing it. Ooh. It's already doing ministry on me, and sorry, episode ain't even been released yet, and I'm like, ooh, because I didn't really think about it. Like, my child is about to be 16. She is getting older, right. And so for me, given my question to the mirror, I'm at the stage. Well, I guess Rachel would be my next technical right below me. Is I am approaching the age where I'm having to mentally and emotionally prepare for this transition of her life.
Right.
Of slowly giving her more responsibility, slowly learning to trust her, to give her an opportunity to try things out for herself, to have more autonomy. But there is this, I'm in that state of like, when you're first letting your kid learn to ride a bike.
Yeah.
As afraid as they are to be let go, we're afraid to let them go.
Right.
Because we don't want them to fall down. We don't want them to scrape their knee. We realize that scrape can make them get up and go, I never want to ride a bike again. Right. And we don't want them to be scared out of their journey. So we kind of want to hold on a little bit longer. But really the only way for you to have confidence that you did a great job, right? And for them to have confidence that they do know what they're doing, so that they do feel safe when they're going into that next stage, is to begin to try to let go. Right. And I think at this stage in your life and my life, it's figuring out what those training wheels look like, figuring out how to allow your child to come into themselves, but also not leave them because they're not quite ready, right, to have, like, you're not just going to put them on a bike before you've given them trainer wheels, right? You're still in that stage of giving them an opportunity to try some things and fail with you. Mm-hmm. And so hearing what it feels like when you have to like take the trainer wheels completely off and just let them go. Right. It's like, oh, okay, let me gather myself.
Can't even look down the street to see if they still riding. Okay, it's time to wait for them to call me or the ambulance.
Right, your kids don't turn the corner on a bike.
Right.
But I like what something Kim said about that you have to keep growing, because if not, then they're gonna look at you and say, well, she's going back. they it might lose them.
Right.
You don't want to cause them to fall.
Right.
So whatever your commitment should show continuously in your life, so that they can see, well, this is working. This really,
that's true. Yep. Yep. Because the faith of mommy, me still seeing mommy faithful and praying, me still seeing mommy still sticking to the word of God. That is like, okay, this thing is real, because my mom been doing this straight for 100 years. It's like, no,
not 100.
They've always been saved now.
We know, Mom. But you know, so if you stop when we got grown and like, all right, I ain't gotta do the church thing no more. Yeah, it would have been a halting place for us as well. So
so it's an ongoing process. You got to keep up, because
so for me, like what I would share with the next generation, both Rachel and Amira, is when you get to 30, because we're talking about what it feels like to be at the age you're in. I think when you're in your 30s and your 40s is when you're looking at the decisions of your life, and you're not necessarily like, you're starting to feel like I don't want to say like time is running out, but it becomes really more pronounced that you expected, like, by the time I get to this age, I will have accomplished this. And you're starting to look at the things you did and didn't accomplish, not really knowing that God has a plan for you, right? So you're just thinking about your plan for your life, and you're feeling like, I thought I would be further than this. I thought I would have done this. You're able to now think very critically in a way that you couldn't think when you were 16, 20, 21. 25, 30 even, and see, oh, I should have done it this way. And I feel like at this stage in your life, it can be a little bit of grief involved, because you're having to accept or feel like you're having to accept that you made some mistakes, and there's part of you that is grappling with this idea of feeling like, is it fixable? And even if you feel like it's fixable, you're wondering, do you have enough time to fix it? And will you have enough time to enjoy it if you fix it? Like, will it take me 20 years to undo the financial mistakes of my past, to undo the relationship mistakes of my past? And you're having this change of life, of awareness, but also needing to reconcile with your past, needing to accept it and forgive yourself for the things you didn't know.
Right.
And I think this is one of the most powerful and important stages of your life, because you can fly after this, or you could sink. And I think that's heavily weighted in how rooted you are in God. And I say that because I think at this stage, you really do have to activate a lot of trust. That because you're going to be believing for things you cannot see. For some people at this stage of life, their relationship that they thought was going to last forever may have ended, and they're starting all over again. Their career that they thought they would be in, they don't love, or they're not passionate about, and they're thinking about changing. I think like this is a very pivotal time in your life where you're wanting to do something different, but it's scary because you don't want to disrupt the financial stability. You don't want to disrupt, you don't know what people are going to think and say. And it is really hard to make these changes with confidence, and not worry so much about the opinions of others, or, when you don't have physical proof that it will work. And it really relies on you knowing that God has got you, that he's a provider, that he made you for this, that every resource you need is going to be there. And it's scary to do it when you still have children who are not adults, because you feel irresponsible making such drastic life changes when you have kids who are depending on you. But I also think it's beautiful because you're finally getting to a point where you really understand your mom.
Right.
And I have said I'm sorry to my mom so many times in my own head. I'm not calling you enough, Mom, and telling you
Look,
to
I
your
said,
face.
did she, Mom? Did she say, did she?
I do call Mommy and say, oh, Lord, Mom.
I'm saying.
Because I get it now. And I get that, man, I'm really sad today, right? And I think to myself, I'm sad. I'm just dealing with one child.
Right.
I don't even remember. I'm certain that my mom had days where she was sad, and here we were, Ma, can we get blah blah? Like here we are complaining and wanting and taking and being ungrateful and not even realizing that mom, the human being, not the mother, not the wife, the person, was going through something. And how did she go through that? And even if she wasn't perfect, maybe it was a day that she was sad that day. And I'm giving, I now I'm in a place where I am understanding my mother, and I'm able to give grace for those moments, as a child that I was like, Mom, because I realize now that I may be having the same effect on my child. And I hope that she has grace for me when she begins to understand how hard this stage of my life was while my mother was still trying to pour into me.
Right.
So yeah, that's my advice for you, Amira, is to start now developing and cultivating that relationship with God sooner than later.
Yes.
So that you're not how I feel like I am right now, just now getting myself deeper and finding him out of like necessity, like out of desperation. I wanted you to already have such a sound relationship that when you go through the highs and lows of life, it's easy for you to go to God and to find peace faster. Like there will always be moments of highs and lows, but it won't take you to such depths that, I experienced, that your mother experienced, that I'm certain my mother experienced, because we didn't have that foundation the way we wanted it to. So that's me to you. Amira, can you share what emotional life challenges someone in their 20s, what's going on in the life of a 20-year-old, and what advice would you give to Jordan to feel more prepared for your 20s emotionally and mentally?
I would say my advice for people Jordan's age, is that it's not the end of the world. Like when you get in trouble, or like when you lose, it's not the end of the world. A lot of things happen to develop and shape you to become the person that God wants you to be. And I dealt with that a lot. I dealt with feeling like this was it, it's just downhill from there. But honestly, you probably feel like that for one day, then the next day you won't even remember what happened. And also take the time now to get closer to God, because I wish that I knew God. Like I took the time to develop my own relationship with God while I was in school, because that probably would have helped me a lot. And I probably would have been not in as much trouble as I was.
You didn't get no trouble, honey. Okay, go ahead.
And for people in their 20s, honestly, I feel like so far my 20s have been kind of lonely. Like I feel like it's been a lonely time regarding like friendships and things like that. It's kind of hard to make friendships when you're older, but if you do have those friendships, I say cherish them, make sure you nurture them, and just take the time to enjoy the people that you have in your life. And also for people Jordan's age, enjoy being a kid, because it changes fast, because these bills will take you out. Girl. But yeah, that's my advice.
Oh, Amira, how you making me want to cry above and below? Because I was, as I was listening to you speak, I could remember my 20s. I remember being here and telling him I feel lonely, because I moved here from New Jersey. All my friends were back home. Just, thank you so much for saying that to her.
Yeah.
And for reminding me of how far I've come too.
Right.
Because you're right about how it does shift. Like it's not your mistakes. Like you're going to make mistakes. It's going to be okay.
That is not the end of the world thing. If I would have known, everything was the end of the world when I was in high school. Everything. And it was just like, oh, I don't even remember what happened. But not to take away from what it feels like in the moment, but it really is not the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Friendships and yeah, I
Mhm.
love that. Whoo, okay, Jordan, our 16-year-old, tell what it feels like to be a teenager at this age and what it feels like emotionally. What are some of the thoughts and worries you're having at this age, and what advice you want to share with someone younger to you that you think would be helpful, that you wish that you had listened to or heard earlier on?
So I feel like the one of the biggest challenges is probably gonna be like adaptation and changes from like being in middle school or elementary school into being in the high school and having like a lot more responsibilities. Um, and also at the same time maintaining your childhood and trying to enjoy it.
Right.
So I feel like that's one of the biggest challenges. Um, Something I would tell my younger self is to not worry about things so much, um, and not to do it so much to where things build up and you get stressed about it, and then you don't really end up getting things done. Um, I think
Good.
that's all that.
I like that.
Can I have
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mom.
Oh, and I want to say you have to come to a point too in your life, whether with your ages, and like you said, you're developing your life in with God leading you. But you have to come to a point too of being content. You know, not trying to run after everything that's out there. You know, you don't have to try to keep up with every style and every nose pierce and all that kind of stuff. You know, everything just don't fit you. But once you get involved in things of all this stuff, I mean, I see people tattoos and this is what they want. But when you come to the Lord, it's almost like, wow, I'm sorry I did that. It's just like you sorry you ever sinned, but you sin, you know. But God will forgive you. But then you got to wear that what you call it, that a little agony along with you until you learn how to forgive yourself or how to get yourself back on track. Because it's not gonna be a bed of roses while just because we serving God. We're gonna have ups and downs. And you might seem like you're having more now since you ask God to come into your life. But these things are to shape you and develop you the way Mary said. Those things are gonna shape her into what God wants you to be, you know?
Right.
If you still stick to it. Don't give up. Keep the faith, believe, keep believing. Okay.
Amen.
Yes. You know what I like about what you just said, Mom, in the beginning about being satisfied is like, I think that's where gratitude comes in and joy is like a lot of times in these different stages, we can clearly see the moments that we were sad and depressed. And a lot of that has to do with um perspective, and we can see what we don't have, we can see what we're missing, and we sometimes in looking at what we don't have or what we wish we had or what we want, we forget about what we already have. And you know, people, we hear these things so much, to be grateful for you woke up in the morning, be careful, be grateful you got sight, you know, like you hear it and it sounds like something you know you're supposed to have, and you know, but you don't really feel how fortunate you are to have those things until you start getting older. Like right now, I'm turning 40, right? And I'm waking up and I'm like, man, my hands hurt, my knees hurt, and it's hard for me. I'm struggling to see things, and I'm like, Lord God, thank you for my vision.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm beginning to see what it feels like to slowly lose these things, and it makes me remember that there are some people who never even had sight, who
Right.
never even had hands, who never even had, you know,
Yeah.
a mom, a sibling to fight with, right?
Right.
So who never even had a home to have bills, you know what I mean? So that I have to remember that in even the bad things that I feel are bad, what is good in it?
Perspective.
If
Yeah.
if I'm frustrated with my teacher, that I'm finding gratitude that I live in a country where I'm allowed to go to school as a girl, that I'm allowed to learn.
Right.
And that there are some people who wish they could have the scenario that I'm painting as so bad, because I've lost perspective of my life. And I think that when you can do that more often, you can get to a place of joy and stay in a place of joy way more often than we usually do. So
Right.
thanks, Mom, for bringing that up. Next round, I want to know what unique financial concerns surface at your age. Like, what kinds of things are you having to pay for mom in your 70s? What type of expenses are you worried about covering? Like, what comes up more often in your 70s that wasn't coming up when you were 50, 40, 30, 20? Like, what are the unique financial challenges of being in your 70s, mom?
Real quick, I just told mommy, don't mention helping me out.
We gotta tell that part, Mom.
We keeping that in there because adult parents do. That is a unique thing about adult parents is that you still care about your kids,
yes,
and still show up
because
for them.
kids, they're always in your pocketbook some kind of way. Okay, but you don't try to let it loose because sometimes you got to say no to them.
Right.
But because you got your own bills, you got to live too.
Right.
So that's why I said we have to come to that contentment in our life, and we want to get out of this debt because we want to work for the Lord. We can't work for the Lord if everything is for us.
Right. So what's some of your things, Mom?
So what is some of my things?
Some of your bills you find.
Bills, credit cards that I want to get out of debt with, and I'm looking for that data to get out of debt. But then sometimes when you think you got it made, then all of a sudden you got another bill. You see something you want. That's why it's, with COVID, it has stopped us from going a lot of shopping and going here and there. I can find some good in that too, because you don't go out looking for trying to buy all these outfits no more, because you ain't going too many places no more but church and
so just close the church now. Ain't no more. You ain't worried about club clothes.
Yeah,
you ain't worried
about that. No,
you ain't worried about baby clothes. Well, maybe your grandkids baby clothes.
But but I want to be a help to someone. I don't want. I got to the point. I'm satisfied. I don't like for nothing. I don't like for anything. I have food. I have things I can give away to people. Just want to, I'm looking for someone to give something to.
Right.
But Mom,
I love being a blessing. It's give me joy when I can serve someone.
But Mom, real practical expenses though, because there are some expenses that are unique to being older, right? You have higher medical bills, prescriptions. Like, what are the tangible financial things that, like, when you're older, you have to think about?
But I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm older, but I'm not on all these medicines right now.
They have insurance and they were blessed to be retired with medical care coverage. They just got to pay for teeth. That's their age group, not mommy per se. The age group.
Dental care. So in that case, I like that you brought that up though, Kim, because mommy and daddy were fortunate enough and wise enough to prepare themselves so that when they reach this age, this isn't as hard on them as it is for some elders. I know some people who are in their 70s who don't have insurance, who don't have, they don't have some of these things in place. So it's harder and scarier for them to be 70 and be going through this stage of life because they don't have the resources, they don't have the insurance coverages.
Right.
So yeah, thanks for saying that, Kim. Kim, what about your late 40s going into 50s? What are the financial
really, Betty? Like, did I do something to you and don't remember? Because it could be, how about your 40s?
Listen, I'm still grappling. If I gotta be in my 40s, then you gotta be here.
I love my 40s, but we ain't gotta bring in the 50s. That ain't yet. Like, almost in a whole nother.
You're getting prepared for.
Okay, Kim. What are the financial challenges of being 48?
Gosh, it's so weird because we live in such a different time zone. So everything's weird. Housing is different. So co-housing is what I'm doing right now. And, then I was being tormented at work. So now I'm trying to build a business. So I guess standard wise, I wouldn't know, but really just trying. Now I'm thinking more futuristic. I'm thinking about the 401k that I'm not going to touch because now I know how much money can duplicate. So it's more of investing for me, because when it was in my 20s, it didn't really sound appealing, but now I know how money can flip and grow. I'm like, anything I get, I want it to be an investment, either in my business or in the stock market. So really just getting money so I know that in the next 10, 15 years, my money could be making money for me. So I'm on that investment mindset, really.
What you would say is, like, at that age, you're thinking about speeding up, catching up, either financially or towards retirement.
Right. Really listening to what I had been fortunate to hear in my younger years, but you know, raising kids and stuff, you only had enough really just to survive. So now that you know, it's going to be a little bit more room financially, I don't want to just spend it. I want to really know, I want to invest because I'm thinking about my kids. I'm thinking about the fact that my mom sometimes has to help me. And I know, you know, I want to be able to help my kids when they need me or even when they don't, you know, it is more now thinking about, ooh, I want to help them buy their first house. I want to give my youngest his car and my oldest her car. But, you know, so yeah, those things are things that I'm concerned about. I feel like I can't think of.
I like that. So at that age, also not just your own, you're also thinking about positioning your kids. Like you're not even like I think we're thinking about our kids, positioning them for success when they're when they're still in our wombs.
Right.
But now you're in that stage of they're actually trying to do it, like
Right.
trying to help them get established financially. So
Right.
that's like an expense as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least a thought.
Huh?
At least a thought of an expense.
Yes. I think at my stage of life, because it's a stage where you're doing a lot of reflecting and a lot of transitioning, is there's a lot of the financial expenses are paying for the mistakes of your past and investing in opportunities in your future. So there's two things happening simultaneously. I feel like in your late 30s to 40s is you're paying off debt as quickly as you can if you have it. You're realizing that you shortchanged your future with the things you bought in your 20s and maybe early 30s. But I also think because you're thinking about the future, like, you know, you're starting to like build momentum to what you were talking about, Kim, as far as like thinking about your future. You're starting to think about that in this stage too. And I think what it looks like for me is like investing in learning, but investing in learning differently, because in our 20s and our teens we're taught college, right? But by the time we get to this age, we're realizing there's so much more I should have learned,
Right.
about so many more things. And we're taking initiative to go and find out for ourselves, whether that is investing in learning things for our business, whether it's investing in therapy to learn more about ourselves, whether it's investing in ministry and you know, deepening our relationship with God. But I think this era of life is a lot of seed planting, especially because we are starting to feel that sense of we're behind. So there's that expense. You are, I think, in this stage, especially if you have teenage children, you're starting to think of how much time you have because they're about to launch. So you're thinking about the cost of college. You're thinking about prom expenses, graduation expenses. Like their bills are their wants are becoming big wants. That, you know, we're going from wanting a Barbie doll to wanting a car, as you just said, for Mira. And so you're thinking about how to how to um how to set them up for success, but you're also thinking about how to be a better example, because I think at this stage you're starting to realize like what you did wrong, and like you're starting to kind of like know what to do.
Right.
And so you're trying to figure out how to share that financial wisdom with your kids at the exact same time they're teenagers and don't want to hear from you, right?
Right.
So just at the age where you finally know what to help them with to avoid this mistake, they're in that stage of autonomy where they're trying to figure out who they are for themselves, and they're struggling to listen. And so I think at that stage, when it comes to money, you have to lead more with example. Because they may not hear you, but they can watch your life transition. They can watch you come from the stage where you were in, because usually your kids were there with you, watching you struggle if they didn't know what it was, but they're going to watch you make better choices, and that wisdom will be planted. So you have to trust that what you're doing means as much as what you say, I think, at this age. Amira, what financial concerns surface for you in your 20s, and what things are you hoping to be able to do with your money at this age? What advice would you have?
I think that my financial things might be a little different, just because I am married and we want to get a house. We want to be able to get a house. We want to also have a wedding still. And we're still learning how to how to still save money while making sure all the bills are paid, and making sure we have groceries, making sure the car is taken care of. We got car insurance, like
It sounds like a lot.
car insurance, got renters insurance, groceries. We got a dog. Like, we gotta pay, take him to the vet, get him groomed and things like that. So it's just learning to manage those things while still having money to, go out and do things, but also still having money to save so that we can have that house, so that we can, have kids when we're ready, and not have that financial strain that people have, because I seen people my age have kids and they're not ready financially, and that's scary to me because I don't want to be in that position, which I understand that, it happens.
Yes, it happens.
And it's life, but if I can prevent it, then
wisdom.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing too?
Yeah, go ahead.
Matthew 6:33 says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all His
just
righteousness,
reading that.
and He will supply your every need." We have a lot of wants. I didn't say I could supply your every want, but your needs, and that's He knows what we need more than we know. And we want so much, and that take you off the rock, and almost like you say, get you overbound in your bills and cause friction in your marriage, because now I want to pay this or this is what's more important,
But I think that's a good point when you think about what society and culture tells us we want and we should have at this age, and we get caught up in that. I feel like that happened with me. I bought my house too soon, but everyone in my my circle was buying houses, but it wasn't our time. We was living really good, $600 a month in a 3-bedroom 2-level townhouse. I went to crazy rate. So just knowing that if you're seeking God, then you're not going to be blinded, or the noise of culture and what everyone else has won't allow you to make premature choices that will damage you financially.
Yeah. And another piece of advice, don't compare what you got going on to everybody else, because I know people younger than me who have houses and have kids and things like that. But if you're not ready for that, then you're not ready for that. You want to be ready, because things like that, there are a lot of responsibility. Having a house is way different from having an apartment, and being married is way different than just being boyfriend and girlfriend. Like it's levels to the things that you see other people have.
Right.
So if you're not ready, then you're not ready, and that's okay. That's not to say that it's not going to happen for you. It's just not happening right now. Like some people my age can't even imagine living by themselves, and that's okay. Like
AJ.
If I could, I would be living with my mom right now.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, me too.
I agree.
We all want a family compound. We really want a family compound, Mom.
That's what we want. You out there now. You can just stay out there and be grown.
Mommy had that door locked.
Take Jesus with you, and you can make it. You can make it. Believe me.
We want a family compound. We don't got to live in the main house with you, Mommy. We just want to live on the land.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
We want to come over for breakfast. We really want to come over for breakfast.
Don't make breakfast no more.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Jordan.
30 minutes is up, man.
No, we didn't say 30
We
minutes.
might have to do a part 2 though, for real.
Go ahead, Jordan.
Father's Day.
Some financial concerns at my age and are probably, thankfully not too many, but it can seem like a lot if you don't really have anything to rely on. Like some kids my age, they have jobs, but I personally don't. But there's certain things like classes, like if you want to get ahead or like, let's say AP testing, or like just certain tests that you have to do. Driving, like if you want to get a car, I mean, I feel like my age, I'm a little young to get a car, but if you were to get a car, maybe like getting things like licenses or permits or just any type of license, doesn't even have to be driving, like that stuff costs money. Like saving up for school or college, that can be a lot, like depending on where you're going, if you want to do that. Um, um, Also, because we're teenagers, some teenagers really, they're really focused on fashion and stuff. Believe it or not, kids are actually stressed about food and door dashing. I personally don't DoorDash because I feel like that's just gonna double the amount, and I feel like I'm responsible enough for that. But people, they like door dashing a lot. Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, whatever.
But that's funny because that was like my biggest reason why I wanted my first job, because I wanted to go buy me pizza and I wanted to buy McDonald's because mommy ain't never had McDonald's money. I felt like that was motivation. Food be a stressor when you're young. I'm telling you.
Wanting to get a good sub from the bodega across the street.
Right.
Balling. And then you think like, then you trying to buy your friend stuff too. Like, I got you. You want some chips?
Balling. But yeah, that's real, Jordan.
I love that. Go ahead, Jordan.
Another thing is like maybe like holidays. I know for me, I feel bad because I don't have a job, so I can't really buy people stuff. I mean, I can always make stuff myself because I have the resources for that, but sometimes I just like have certain things in mind and I can't get them stuff. So that so like when you don't have this like a job or something to financially depend on, it could lead to you like feeling like you're behind from other people, especially if you're surrounded by people who have a job and stuff. Yeah.
That's good.
You know, she got me thinking, like, my motivation wasn't food. When I wanted a job, it was for stuff like that. Like, I remember Christmases. First of all, the Christmases before I got a job, I used to just re-gift things from y'all. I used to, like, find something in Kimbrough, give it to mommy for Christmas, and Kim be like, isn't that my jewelry box?
Right. Yes.
And so you do, especially when you have a giver's heart, because it's not really about, like, because I never really felt like I wanted to buy like myself like name brand. Like I really was never really into stuff like that. But I wanted to be able to like see the delight on somebody's face when I got them something that said I was thinking of them and I didn't have the money to get it. So as early as I was able to get money, the things that like the memories I was most excited about that I spent money on was buying. Like I remember that first Christmas gift where I could like buy everybody something good. I bought daddy a nice suit. I bought mommy that jean outfit from the Gap that Kim ended up stealing. I bought
what?
That mommy, that it was mommy's first like stretchy denim outfit. This is mommy wasn't wearing clothes that
I
fit
remember that denim outfit.
before then.
That was cute.
And we came out and we had no idea that mommy had a body like that. We was like, ma'am, was you hiding that? And you look so cute. Why aren't you wearing clothes that fit you? Because mommy was always wearing oversized suits. But I was
with shoulder pads.
Yes. I was so excited to be able, and I could see the difference in like when I remember mommy moving her shoulders left and right, like to see her feel good in something she was wearing too. That made me feel good that I was able to do that for her. I don't even remember what I got for Christmas that year.
Thank you for that outfit.
You stupid. But yeah, I definitely see what Jordan means about, you know, when the holidays come, you want to feel like, because it's different when your mom gives you the money to buy the gift, you still kind of feel like you didn't do it. Yeah. It feels different when you took your money and bought something for somebody.
I remember like when I actually started getting money, like, and I was able to buy people stuff, I felt very happy and like I felt like a good person for helping other people.
Aww.
I love this. How has being a mother changed you, and how has it changed your opinion of your own mother? So this question, obviously, Amira and Jordan won't be able to answer, but Mom, let's start with you. How has being a mother changed you, and how has it changed your opinion of your mother?
How has it changed me as being a mother?
Well, think about you before having any kids.
Before having any kids,
that was so long ago.
I can't remember that far back.
It is in her house. She don't even remember.
But I mean, I just think about my mother, how patient and quiet spirit she was, and humble lady. And I was thinking the other day, I really can't remember whipping from my mother, but she would say, "I'll tell your dad on you." And then when she said that, that was enough to straighten me up right then. I hear somebody about Gladys was talking about how mama beat her one time or something. I can't remember my mother beating me. Like I said, all she had to do is call my daddy name to me, and that's my beating. I got it.
So we see where you got that from.
Yeah, I was definitely scared of you saying I'm gonna tell daddy. That was enough of a threat for me most of the time too. What about you, Kim? How has being a mother changed you, and how has it changed your opinion of mommy?
Oh, shoot. Being a mom. Wow, dang. I feel like I was naturally a mother though. It felt like I had purpose to my role because my doll babies were my children, and then my sisters were my children, and so then I had real children, and it felt like, yes, I've been practicing for this. I really love having younger. I look at Rachel now like, oh, I just remember them years, and I still love being a mom because they love hanging out with me, and I love that my kids actually listen. And so now what actually I learned from that is that all the times I didn't want to listen to my mom because I always felt like she didn't want me to have fun. And it's like, wow, I know the appreciation that my children will listen to me or they'll call me for advice, that all the times when my mom tried to give me advice when I was younger, it was just always felt like negativity to me. You so negative. And now like, wow, my mom really walked in some wisdom that I live off of. Like I heard it because when she wasn't around, I would hear mommy's voice. I said, my mom was my first acknowledgement of the Holy Spirit. Like if I tried to get in this stuff, I would be hearing mommy's voice. You know, God sees nothing hidden in the dark and all that. So really realized that, wow, my mom really had superpowers. And I think my kids sometimes think I do too. And I love that. So yeah.
Oh, I think for me, being a mother made me irrevocably resilient. Like when Jordan was born, suddenly it was like I don't have a choice but to succeed in life because I, I had to keep going for her because she was watching.
Right.
And not just with like succeeding in my career, but like my resilience and focusing on my mental health, like getting that together, was because I needed her to see me go through that and see me come out of that, because I know that at some point in her life, she's going to go through something like this too, right? She's going to go through something that feels hard, and she's going to want to know how I got through it. I know that when I think about how my mother must have gotten through it, like as I went through it and said, mommy must have gone through some hard things. I don't remember the moment, but I have to think about the times my mother walked around praying. So now I intuitively know that the way my mother got through a lot of that was with God. Probably with her girlfriends too. She had her friends who, she talked to, and that they, shared stories with and laughed and got a little bit of release from, and valuing those sisterhood and those friendships, and that she made, how intentional mommy was about making friends who had kids that we could grow. Like my long life friendships are because of the mothers my mother became friends with. And my most lasting relationships are a result of the relationship she chose to have as a mom. So I am conscious of those things, and I try to be intentional as a mom, and follow in that example. So I think like becoming a mother made me feel like I want, like I have not like I out pressure I have to succeed, but like I know I can. Like God wouldn't have given me this child for nothing. I have it's he assigned her to me. So he must have given me the skills and the tools to raise her for what she's, supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so I know that I just have to keep going is all it is. And so I'm grateful to be a mom, and I'm grateful that being a mom helped me step back and appreciate my own mother so much more. Like you said, Kim, about the times that I felt like mommy was just trying to ruin my fun. Like when mommy be like, "Don't worry about boys, just work, just go on a trip, go on a road trip with your friends and travel." Right? At that time, it felt like you're just trying to ruin my fun. But now, in hindsight, I think about it and I go, "Wow, mommy had her first child and got married when she was 20 years old. She never," and even though mommy loves being a mom and she always said like that was her dream, like you wanted to grow up and be a mother, like I realize now that she realized that while she doesn't wish something was different, she did miss out on something. She didn't really get the opportunity to, the gift of singleness, of traveling and doing these things that you get to do when you're single and have no children, so that when you find yourself in marriage, when you find yourself in your career, that you can fully enjoy and be fully submerged in it, because you don't feel like you've missed out on anything. And I wish I had absorbed, I wish I understood. She was trying to tell me, but the way she was explaining it, I couldn't make sense of it now.
Mommy ain't explain much. She just said, "Don't do it."
My daddy did too. He just said,
Yeah. And so I
dress
appreciate
down.
it, because I do understand it now, even if she didn't really say it the way I understand it now, so much more. So thank you, Mom.
I'm sorry. I'm just recalling one of her things. I know she said it a million times. Keep your legs closed and your dress down. When she just said it, she said, I said, keep your dress down. She sure enough did say, keep your legs closed and your dress down. Oh,
Daddy used to tell us that too. Y'all be nice girls. Dress down.
That brings up another question I have about the things that are uncomfortable conversations that we should have had with our children, the conversations that we wish our mothers had with us, questions you wanted to ask your mothers but didn't. I want to know, what were the questions you didn't ask and why?
I said, this part we need a therapist in the room. I mean,
what are the conversations that you wanted to ask your mother and didn't? What are the conversations that you wanted to have with your kids but you didn't know how to have them? Mom, you first.
I don't know. I had no question that I didn't. I remember asking my sister a question that I would have never had asked my mother.
Okay, so why did you ask your sisters instead of your mother?
Because I felt that I could talk to her about certain things.
Do you think that, like, do you think that there's always some things that you just can't talk to your mom about? Or do you feel like if you, like, now as an adult, I now see you as a human being now, right? So I have conversations with you now, Mom, that I never thought I could have with you, but it took me to seeing you as a person to understand, like, oh, you have had these feelings, you go through things, you feel sad sometimes, because we do tend to see our parents as superhumans.
I don't think I have that. I don't think I have the feeling that I had with my children that I had with my mother.
What do you mean by that?
I get most closer to y'all, to talk to y'all about things that I couldn't talk to with my mother, or I didn't talk to my mother, or she didn't talk to me about. Not that I didn't have that. We just didn't have that kind of closeness. She had 5 girls, 5 boys, so it wasn't like we sat down and we had conversation together like that. I remember standing at the foot of her bed and saying things to her, but not so much like I had with y'all.
Yeah. So really, time probably contributed to that. But I think each generation gets better, because I think, like, when you realize you wish you had more conversations, then you begin to be intentional. Like, I know the conversations I have with Jordan, like, Jordan has said to me before, like, did your mom talk to you about stuff like this before? Like, she's curious. And I'm like, no. But I think the reason I do is because there are moments that I go, oh, I wish that she had, but I bet you she probably thought she was protecting me, right? Like, we think we are protecting our kids sometimes, and so we don't have conversations that we should have sooner. And sometimes it's because you just don't know how to bring it up. So
also
Kim,
the generational thing as well. But yeah.
But it's good to have that conversation if you feel, especially if the need was out here today, because otherwise somebody else gonna grab them and take them another direction that you don't want them to go in. Maybe.
Yeah,
I wanted to tell Mommy when I needed my first bra, but didn't know how to tell her.
Really?
Is that included in the topic?
Yeah.
Or when you had your first period, and I go to school and I got this thing in my book that said I had my period today. I was like,
you wrote Mommy a note, Kim?
I put a note in her lunchbox because Mommy never talked to me about it.
No, she put it in my.
She never told me about it, but all my friends told me about it. But Mommy talked to my friends, and my friends would have conversations with Mommy that me and Mommy didn't have. So mommy felt more comfortable sharing things with them. And that's how I learned. But one thing I tell people is that mommy always put me in environments where I could, like how mommy up to elderly people. I did that in my own environment, like with Doreen and Samantha. I looked up, like mommy would send me to youth things. So she placed me in environments where I learned. But even now, I even say, Lord, if I can't speak to my kids, Lord, allow them to have people they can trust. Because I know every conversation they don't want to have with us, and that's okay. Lord, let no unclean hand or unclean ear or influence come near them is my prayer, because I want them to have someone that they can talk to.
That's right.
Shamira is very open. I'll be like, oh, you gotta tell me everything. Like,
because I even thank God for the people. I always say, I admire how you spoke into our kids' life, and I said, I believe that those words are their teaching when under the youth in the church. And I always stand, well, if I can't reach them, maybe somebody else
always said that. She said, I just know people, God gonna send people to talk to y'all when I can't. That's so that was her way of making sure we had what we needed when she couldn't.
That he had me
but I knew clearly as a young person that mommy wasn't comfortable about talking about things. But you, when I see the things she talked to you and Rachel about, I'm like, oh, mommy told you about that? Mommy told you about that? She talked about your period. Like, but I felt like I didn't want to make mommy uncomfortable. So let me say no. So
no, Kim, mommy didn't talk to me about my period either. Tasha
never talked to me about it.
Tasha told everybody. I was like, no. And you know who mommy made me talk to about? Daddy. Daddy called me downstairs to the office and was like, so I heard.
I remember that.
I was mortified. I was like,
what do he know about it?
Let's speak on uncovering parenting trauma, because that is traumatic.
Oh my gosh. I wish that I had talked to mommy more about relationships. I wish I had talked to her more about like emotions. I wish I had talked to her more about gosh. I feel like those are the big things. I wish I had tried to understand my mom more, because it would have helped me understand the context of her discipline and her direction more, so that I wouldn't have made so many mistakes.
Well, we all wish that, that we could have had more guidance in those areas of our life, or rules that I'm wishing that I would have got saved at an early age, but I have no control of that.
Yeah.
When I got the message, when my heart received it and wanted a change in my life, I asked God to come in, and He changed me, and I was true and real about that, So I don't regret nothing, although I just learned how to forgive myself and go on with life, because I enjoy my children. I love my children.
Yeah, I think
and my grandkids, really, all of them. I mean, it's like y'all my life. If it wasn't for that, I mean, what's my purpose of living?
Lord, man.
I look at you. My kids would keep me alive. I always say that. I really do. I mean, I every day. I mean, I'm not every day, but I mean, just even lately, I was thinking, boy, I was thinking how I want my kids. I don't want them to be crying over me. I don't want them to cry when I die. I want y'all to be happy. Right. I want y'all to know, sure, you're going to tear some tears, yes. And I was just thinking about that the other day. Because I'm looking around, it seems like I'm looking around a corner like something's going on. Something's going to happen. I don't know why. I keep looking at this thing. Like, oh, Kim, I got mail in my bag for you right now.
Oh, Lord.
I got to get it. No, I mean, I said if I don't look at my pocket when I'm here, I'm not going to remember your mail just came the other day. But okay, and we do need to get this thing straight about this.
The life.
So
yes, we're not having a family meeting though right now.
No, I know, but
Betty.
But as we discuss the family financial stuff mid episode.
Have to write up the will.
That's your real
man. Okay, and the last thing that I wish is, what I wish my mother had talked to me about is some of the, I think, the harder conversations, like some things I know my mom went through when she was younger that she had shared with me. It would have first of all, humanized her a lot faster. But it also would have helped me know how to navigate
But now you
trauma
share with your daughter so she wouldn't.
trauma that I would have gone through. You know, it's hard because you don't ever want to know that in any way your parent was hurt or felt, had dealt with any level of trauma or grief or something at some point. Like, it's hard to hear what your parents go through, but I also think it's helpful to hear some of these things that they've gone through, because when you go through them, you feel so much safer telling them what you're going through. Because I feel like I went through a lot of hard things by myself when I didn't have to. All this time, I wouldn't have known that my mother could relate and would have understood and would have been able to walk me through it. But instead, I kept it to myself. And now I know that she could have and would have, but I didn't even give my mother the chance because I didn't know that she'd had these lived experiences and could have helped me navigate those more clearly. So you're right. I do want to, I do, and I think I try to share as much as I can with Jordan, age appropriately, so that way she feels safe talking to me about her life as she goes through her 20s, her 30s, and things change, and she has hard things that she always knows, like, mom's always a safe space.
Right.
Amira, you.
Okay, so when when I was younger, I used to be scared of my mom. What? So I really
That's so sweet. Go ahead.
I really didn't feel like I could talk to her. I'm
rubbing her back now, so you know I'm nice.
It's funny to know that grandma didn't talk to her about her period, because I had no idea about a period until I was in summer school.
You didn't know about one?
No.
Your
I didn't
school
know
was
until I
horrible.
was in summer school and I started my period.
School should have taught you that.
And I didn't know nothing. And then Auntie Robin had came and picked me up.
Oh yeah.
And she told, like, she explained it to me. And like, that was the first time I heard anything about a period.
For real?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I honestly could
passing down period trauma.
But this is
sorry.
But now, me and my mom was like my best friend now, and it's a trend on TikTok where it's like where people are realizing like their mom was just a girl, and it's like, yeah, my mom was really just a girl.
Just a girl.
Like trying to figure out life. So I definitely have like more grace for her now and understanding, and I do wish that I felt more comfortable to talk to her about just anything. Like, I was really scared of my mom.
I felt like she was scared of you too. But I remember our mom, when she had you, she was the meanest person in the world. Like, the first 3 years, when you had me, I said that mean afro. When you around your early 30s, mommy was so mean. I thought she didn't like us, like me. And then I'm like, and I always still go back and say, was she going through something then? I just remember mommy being super nice and then being super mean. And I just remember you was around the time when you was having Betty, and I'm like, she was young too. She had like 4 kids already, and she was having another one. So I kind of started playing that out in my head, like, yeah, she was stressed. I still be like, she was stressed.
Yeah, you're right, because I'm the 4th child. So by the time mommy has me, she's 33 with 4 kids.
Yes. I'm sorry. I cut her off. Go ahead.
That's a lot. Go ahead, Mary. I'm sorry.
But yeah, it was,
that's
just wish I was able to talk to her. But that's why I'm so comfortable with talking to her about anything now. Like, I don't care. Like, cool. She gonna be like, I'm like, no, you're gonna hear this. You're gonna hear this.
Yeah. But it's funny because I had youth teens that talked to me about everything, just like my mom had young people that she talked to about everything. And I said, Lord, well, I took care of other people's kids. Can you get somebody to take care of mine? Sorry, but go ahead.
But yeah, just now I talk to her about everything, and she can't get away from me.
I love her.
What about you, Jordan?
Okay, well, like, in school, I feel like every year I hear someone saying yeah, I talk to my mom about everything. Like, we're like best friends or whatever, or just their parents in general. Like, I think I was texting my dad, and my friend was like, that was like, your texts are so dry. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, I text my dad or talk to him about everything. So like, I feel like honestly, just the little things. It could be anything. Like I wish, I mean, I am comfortable talking about the little things, but sometimes it's just like random stuff. Like I feel like I don't really know how to explain it. We do, but we don't at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm speaking more on like issues with like school and like friendships and just like anything. Like I don't know. I mean, we do talk about it, but it's just like I feel like it's under a specific like situation, I guess.
Yeah, I think that like the general theme like we all have is like at some point we realize all this time we could have is we
Right.
usually tell ourselves we can't talk to our parents about stuff when in reality we could have and they would have talked to us and we don't realize it until that time has passed.
I think that's good. I think what Mira said is a good thing for Jordan. She makes me listen to her now. Like I remember changing the atmosphere talking to my dad. I remember making my dad sit down with me and talk to me and tell me his story. So as a young person, you can influence that change in your relationship with your mom. It doesn't just have to be initiated by her, but you know that she's willing and able to be whatever you need her to be. So make her your friend. You know what I'm saying? Make her talk to you about the casual stuff, the crazy stuff, and
Yeah,
see
Jordan,
how she responds.
You got to get on her nerves.
She got that master. No, I'm just kidding. She's sweet.
No, that's what's up.
Okay. Last question. What is your favorite thing about being a mother? And what is your favorite thing about your mother?
Okay.
Just
Mom, you first.
I know. I'm just saying her quiet spirit, her just her love, her care for her children. It seemed like she was just a mother for us.
Right.
What's your favorite thing about being a mother?
Being a mother, knowing that I got kids that I love, beautiful kids, and I love my kids. They like beautiful flowers in my garden. I can nurture, and I can talk to them about most anything too, and they listen, and they're there to correct me when I'm wrong, and they will tell me. So I listen, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll see. Who's going to be right. Well, I'm learning, and I don't want to be so prideful that I cannot hear from other people, because I believe God will use people to bring you down, to teach you if you don't be listening at what He's saying.
Right.
And I believe He used y'all to help me get through, because you're the people that I will go to and really discuss things too,
That's good.
Thank you, Mommy.
That's good.
Kim, what is your favorite part about being a mother, and what is your favorite thing about your mother?
My favorite part about being a mother is having little people that just get me, like just really having a natural bond with children, with something God allowed me and their dad to create, and to see how God uses them, like Mommy said, to teach me more about Him. So in the frustrations, in the how I handle them, how I need to see them, like it changes my expectations in what I want them to be and what I should be saying they are. And it's just like God is growing me as He shows me through parenting. And so that's dope. And then about my mama, oh Lord, my mom, so many things. But what I love about her is her consistency. Her consistency in being mom. It's never like, sometimes in mirrors, she hungry, I'm about to fight her. Like she ain't my daughter at this moment. But mommy's always mommy. She's always, no matter how aggravating I could be, or I had the bad attitude when I was younger. I'm just disgusted with myself right now. But mommy just loved. She loves. She never withholds her love. No matter and I know mommy has feelings. I know mommy get her feelings hurt sometimes. And I'm like, wow, she really put up with me. You need to do better at this age. I feel like God got mommy and daddy around so we can show them how it is, so we can get it right in being kids in loving them. I really do. I'm like, God has given me all this time with my parents. I need to be spending some more time with them. I need to make sure I get over there and just, love on them more, because He's allowing them to get the reward of raising 5 children, and we should be giving them that. And so just knowing that mommy's gonna always be mommy, she's such a constant and consistent source of love that I wouldn't trade her for the world.
Yes. Woo. I second that. I'll start with what my favorite part about being a mother is this feeling of God's perfect plan. Like, I look at Jordan and I marvel at how perfect she is for me. Like how God chose her, and how I feel so loved by God that He knew exactly what I needed. He knew how many kids I needed. Like, I always thought I would have a lot of kids, and He just gave me one, but He gave me one amazing child. And I think about like Jesus, right? Like He had a big responsibility on this earth. And I, Jordan, I imagine, has a big responsibility on this earth, and that he thought enough of me to take care of her. But I stare at her in awe all the time. I know I must drive her nuts, but when I stare at her, I laugh at myself, because I can easily see my mom, because mommy used to do that to us all the time. You just look over and you be like, what are you looking at? And she's like, what? I can't look at my kids. I just can't. I can't.
I just love my kids.
Love my girls. And I'm like, oh, I get it now. This type of love, the love you have for your child is something that you can't explain. It's something that your kids will never understand until they have kids of their own. And even then, I still don't know if I could understand my mother's capacity. And I think that's why I'm so grateful for my mother. My favorite thing about her, you took my word out my mouth, was she's so consistent. The way mommy shows up for us and loves on us with the best, like I was thinking earlier today, that's so funny that you said that about how bad, like I was thinking, man, there were some times where I was mad about the pack a bag at like 4 years old with a doll baby. I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you. And how even when you're little and your kids don't mean they hate you, but like when they say things like that, how it can hurt your feelings. And mommy be like, I used to be like, I hate you. And mommy would go, I love you anyway. And she'd be like, well, I love you. And I'm like, she just was like, she loved us really, really hard. And also, I'm going to have to give an extra one, because I feel like all of us feel this way of mommy in particular has this natural sense of knowing what we need most when we need it. And mommy could have not visited me for months. She could have not visited me all year, but on the hardest day of the year, when I'm saddest, when I'm feeling broken, I will have not even had a conversation with mommy for her to even know will be the day she shows up at my doorstep. When Mara, ended up having to go to the hospital that day, how she showed up at your house, mommy just has this.
Now that was crazy.
What is it? Uncle Walter, when she went over there to take the rice pudding that day. Like, I just need to bring how mommy just always appears. She's like, and you can't tell me mommy is not a living angel. She just appears exactly when she's needed. I really wish she would just go ahead and tell us the truth that she is. But
that's so funny, because when she was on her way here, she left, and Mary said, "Where grandma?" I said, "She out there doing the Lord's work."
Like, even how she's here today. Like, when we talked about doing the Mother's Day episode, I had no idea. Like, I wouldn't think mommy would drive all the way down here just to do this, so I wasn't going to bug her about it. But the fact that she happened to be coming to town today to get her hair done by you, I was like, mommy just is always where she needs to be when she needs to be there. And I just love her for that I can consistently depend on her to be mom. Amira.
Yeah. So
you don't have no kids, but what?
I don't have no kids, but what I love about my mom is that she like you said, she always has a sense of knowing. Well, you said that about grandma, but my mom, like, she has this ability to really like help pull me out of a dark place, like, because I be having my moments, but And sometimes I'm gonna be honest,
I already know.
it be irritating. Like I'll be, laying in the bed just sad. She's like, God told me he was feeling this way. I'm like, oh my goodness. Just let me have a day.
You want to stay?
But I'm always like, in the moment, I may be irritated, but I'm always thankful for that. And just for her, just for her being my friend, because I had this revelation like probably a year ago that like why are parents so opposed to being their children's friends if even God calls us his friend?
Oh, girl, drop that. Yes.
It's like if God can be our friend and our father, then our parents could be our friend as well.
Yes.
So I'm just thankful for her having that friendship with me, but also having, the mother-daughter relationship that we do have.
Oh, that's so sweet. You're in the right place, right? That's true. That's good.
That was a bar. That was a bar, Mira.
Thank you.
That's a revelation I never actually heard anybody articulate and say. Like you hear God is your friend.
I just
you hear God is your father, but you never hear them both. Like that is relates to our earthly parents. So, Jordan, last but certainly not least, you don't have no kids, and you're not gonna have none for a long time.
Amen.
Go ahead.
Okay. So my favorite thing about my mother is how she's done and she's willing to do anything for me. I don't really know her entire backstory, but I can tell that she's gone through a lot of rough times. And I just thank God that I have a warrior for a mom. And it may not seem like it, but I really appreciate everything she does for me.
Yes. Don't you start crying, Betty. Don't you start crying.
Literally covering my eyes. What? You just do so well.
That's so sweet.
My favorite part, I do have to say, my favorite part about being a daughter is knowing that at the end of the day, I will always have. Sorry. You made me know you crying too. I'm sorry.
Jordan.
Go ahead, baby. We're gonna stop crying together.
Okay.
I always have someone watching my back and supporting me, and I'll be able to do the same for her.
Give me a hug. Oh,
that's the beauty of this family. That we really do have a strong. And I give that. I called mommy last week, and I know we got to close out because we do. But I was like, wow. I keep replaying Daddy sitting us down and having that time. He was building structure, and as frustrating as it would be, he established something that our next generation will even understand what it is to come together and have a meeting and come together and sitting down and doing things as a family. That's so often unheard of unless you got a lot of money, you don't have no worries in the world. But even in the midst of struggle and not having everything, Daddy's instilled structure in us, and now we're living off of that. Our family unit is straight, love because of that. And so we have a heritage. It may not be millions yet, but we have a heritage that tried to be taken away even through slavery, was the bond of the family. So that alone is wealth, right? So that's right. It.
It's not always in money that bring wealth. No, right. It's not.
Oh, I feel so rich right now.
This is rich.
I feel rich. I hope the audience I hope the audience feels rich too. I have enjoyed sharing Kim and I's family with this audience. Thank you, Mom, for pouring into us today and pouring into my friends and family all my life. When you got sick and you were in the hospital and we were getting flooded with phone calls from everywhere, I knew that was the burden, the beautiful burden of you having been such a mother to everyone. That your life, I got to see, how you always talk about, need my flowers while I'm living. I got to see the flowers about how people feel about you, Mom. I knew that I'd known all my life that you were not just our mother. Like we had like it is what it is. Like you're the community's mom, and I appreciate your life of service. I appreciate how
didn't birth them all, but he gave me them too.
yes, and I appreciate how you don't complain in all your service too. The spirit of gratitude, the spirit of joy, a joyful giver. You are a joyful giver. And I have to think that to my maternal side of my family. Like the Harrises all are very just joyful people. And so on this Mother's Day, I just want to give you my flowers and the audience the flowers. Kimberly, thank you so much for putting up with me.
Kimberly.
Yes. Kimski and the place to be, Kimberly, Kimberly. We know her by a lot of names. Watch the earlier episode to get that joke. But Kim, you are our family president. You function as our vice mother, if there was like
not vice mother.
Vice mother, mommy the president, you the vice mother, and a lot of times. And so thank you so much for partnering with me with this podcast, putting up with me. Thank you, Amira, for being such an amazing niece and being a good listener and student of life, and watching you grow and blossom into who you are has been a wonder to see. Like I'm so in awe of you. Thank you so much, Jordan, for joining us today and being such a blessing to our family as well. You are so rich with gifts, and so you surprise, like when she opens her mouth to speak for herself, she always blows me away. And and so I'm grateful. So thank you all.
Bigger words than all of us today.
And we miss
really
Rachel.
Was.
She's a mother of
shout
two,
out to Rachel.
and she's a growing great mother with her children. She's
and another awesome mother, Alicia. She's doing an awesome job. I'm so proud of her as an aunt. So we have a heritage of strong women in our family.
Tanya and Watika. Oh, what a mother.
Mom, now we got to name everybody in the family. We be on here forever, okay? And we were just going with your direct descendants.
Yeah.
Love you. Bye. Happy Mother's Day to you all.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
See ya.
Bye.
If you thought this episode was dope and you learned from it, it would be amazing if you would take a screenshot, post it, and tag me on Instagram at YoungRichRooted. I would absolutely love to connect with you over there. And if you're serious about leveling up on your money mindset and to start adopting more wealth building behaviors, you have to check out my 2023 Jumpstart Planner. It's my 12-month daily planner for people who want more than a place to put their appointments. They want a tool that helps them create a plan for their money so they can get closer and closer to making clocking in optional. You can order your planner online at www.youngrichRooted.com/success shop. I'd love to help you get closer to FU money status using all the tools in our success shop. I want you to always be able to choose what's best for you without fear, shame, or guilt. Money should not be an insurmountable obstacle to getting what you need and what you've envisioned. You deserve more. You simply have to have the audacity to choose it. Talk to you soon.
The world belongs to you. 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 The world belongs to you.